couple weeks ago, I had a chance to go to the Adobe Learning Summit that's held in Vegas. It's a great conference, has a lot of different content that's not just on Adobe tools, but they do have a lot on Adobe tools as well. And I was asked to speak on vibe coding and how to take vibe coding and put it into Captivate. Now, I mostly work with Articulate Storyline and Rise, and so I wanted to go in and I've taught courses. I have courses on Udemy. You can check those out as well on Adobe Captivate. So I've taught Captivate in the past. So I wanted to see what it would take to actually do vibe coding inside of Captivate. So I'm going to head on over to vibedojo.ninja and I'm going to launch the Learning Prompts tool. And this is going to give me a prompt here. We're going to use the one that I haven't used before in previous videos called Hot or Not. So it's going to be a rapid fire true or false question. Now I'm going to use Claude to be able to build this. So I have Claude ready to go here. So I'm going to just come in and just hide that real quick and we'll copy the prompts tool. And it is a free account. You can sign up for free and just keep track of your own prompts, see a bunch of prompts that you can use inside of your learning and development here. So let's just come in and say, so new hire within the Acme Inc. company. And so it's pretty generic. You'd probably want to define this a little bit more inside of your prompt. This is just replacing what's up here where you can see topic inside of the prompt and you can see exactly what the prompt is. So all I have to do is copy that. Now let's go into Claude and you can use ChatGPT if you want as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and paste this. Create a fast-paced HTML true or false quiz game that has the topic of new hire within the Acme Inc. company. Present one statement at a time, and the learner is going to click hot, true, or not, false, to respond. Include 10 to 15 statements. Track the score as well. So let's go ahead and get that going. Now, most of the time, what you'd want to do inside of Captivate is you'll also want to prevent the user from moving on until they've actually completed the interaction, or you'll want to prompt them to move on at the end as well. So we're going to see what comes out with this current interaction, and then we will add the code in order to continue from the interaction to the next page. Okay, so we have the game here. It just automatically opened the preview for me, which is something that just drives me nuts. Sometimes in ChatGPT, it doesn't do it, and in Canvas, you have to prompt it to do Canvas, but even sometimes when I was in a presentation just recently, it still didn't do it. All right, so let's go ahead and just click on Start. And we do have, let's say we don't have a timer, but right here, new hires must complete the benefits enrollment within 30 days. Hot, that's true. And it stamps it as hot. Well, that's too easy. Let's go ahead and try the next card. And there we go. Well, let's do not. And that is correct. I'm doing great so far as well. So just a cool little game that I'm able to go back and forth. And I am using, for this one, I'm using Fable 5, which is currently in the moment free. So it's going to do actually a better job than Opus and so forth. But after, I think today is the 6th, so tomorrow is the 7th. After tomorrow, it's not going to be that. So you can try this with Opus. You can also switch it to Opus later on in chats as well. But you can see here, hot, not, and it will just add that animation and go back and forth there. Okay, so let's go ahead and just, this is not exactly what I want, so let's just add an additional thing here. So I'm going to click on this microphone right here, and this allows me to record that will just translate it into text here. So I want to actually have a timer for each question. So maybe a progress bar down at the bottom, and when it expires, the person cannot move on. It'll just say that they got it incorrect. So if I click on this right here, there's the text, and I can just go ahead and hit enter. That way, if you don't like typing, you can also use typeless. I have some videos on typeless as well, but if you don't want to type, you can just use the microphone to explain exactly the kind of interaction that you want there. Let's go ahead and see how this updates and changes here. So now let's try this out. It says it's done. So I'll click there and you can see there's the timer. I like that a lot more. It's a lot more challenging. You can see that I got that right. So I'm going to go to the next card, and I love the animations when it comes in and it goes out. So didn't get that one right, but I was doing pretty good before. So this is the interaction. Now let's get it into Captivate and see exactly what it's like. Now I can get this inside of Rise. I can get this inside of Storyline as well. I have previous videos on that. But let's go ahead and just copy that and come into Captivate here. And inside of Captivate, what I'll do is, and this is the new Captivate, so I'll add a media block and then I'm going to do a web object. Now immediately it does not stretch out to the full page. And so what I'm going to do is stretch this out to the full page here. Just make sure it goes all the way down to the bottom. Now over on the properties, I'm just going to get rid of the caption, get rid of the subtitle, and I may need to stretch it out again with those gone now. There are a couple of different ways to use this, and so I can use the URL, embed, or system. So the system is more like a PDF if you want to get a PDF inside of there. I don't know why, but you can't do like multiple files inside of there. It'd be nice if you had a multiple file package to be able to do that. But in this case, it's just a PDF. So what we're going to do is the embed code. But before we do that, what I want to do is come up here to alignment and spacing here. Not even that, I want to go up one more level here. So where it says web object, I'm going to go ahead and go up one extra level here. And then I'm going to go into alignment and spacing there. It adds a little bit of padding on the right and the left. And so I'm going to just stretch that out so it takes up the full width. I don't want that padding on the left and the right. I want it to take up the full height and width of the page. That's up to you. If you don't mind that padding, then you can just keep that there as well. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to select this again, and I'm going to go into embed code, and this is where we paste in our HTML. So just by doing that, and then just clicking somewhere off the stage, there is our hot or not interaction, just automatically shows there. So let's go ahead and preview this, and it's going to launch this inside of a browser, and then I'll hit play. And now I can just hit launch, and I can do the interaction, start and finish. You can see that it has the feedback there. Now this is where you'll have to go back in because we're restricted to that page height. You can either stretch out the page height inside of Captivate so it has a longer page, or what you can do is you can come in here to Claude and you can say, hey, don't go beyond a certain height. You can actually figure out what that page height is by coming into Captivate and then going into the properties here, the project properties here, and you can see right here the desktop version is 1366 by 768. So I can go back into Claude and I can say, hey, don't have the height go beyond this. So any of the feedback don't slide up, just have that feedback pop up as a modal or something like that. So that's the kind of challenges that you'll want to do. But what we also want to do is just have a continue button that goes on to the next page if they've completed this interaction. And this is the code that you're actually going to need. So I'll just copy that code. You can also just take a screenshot of that as well. And then I'm going to come back into Claude and let's just do this. At the end of the interaction, whether they've passed it or not, what I want to do is have a continue button, and that continue button is going to run this JavaScript code. One thing I like about Typeless is it like cuts out the mistakes here. And then I'm going to just do this. That continue button is, we'll get rid of that. And that continue button is going to run this JavaScript code, and I will just paste in that code here. Also, keep the height to 768, so the feedback should show up as a modal, centered vertically and horizontally. While we're at it, we may as well fix that too. So let's go ahead and see what the updates are, and then we're going to copy that code back into Captivate once we're done. Okay, so it looks like we're done. Let's go ahead and just see what the feedback looks like before I copy in the code. So you can see right there, it just takes over the entire screen, and that's fine. That's pretty typical with a modal or a pop-up or stuff. So I'm going to click on next card. All right, so to me, that looks great. I'll come in here and just click on the properties over here. We're going to remove all of the current code, and we're just going to go ahead and paste in the new code. Now I will preview this again, and let's go ahead and go through the interaction. And I'm just going to randomly select some of them so you can see that it's not scrolling up. Everything is looking so much better now. And now let's get to the very end here. I'm doing okay, which is surprising. So let's go ahead. Oh, almost done. Next card. See results. There we go. We have a continue button. For some reason, Claude loves the confetti. So like on the completion of everything, the confetti drops. But you can see here, on fire, we got 10 out of 12. Great, just for randomly clicking. I can run it again, and then I can go ahead and hit continue. Now continue is where we added that JavaScript code that will now take us to the next page. So you can seamlessly just go to the next page inside of Captivate. Now you could do that inside of Rise with the code block and everything like that, but this allows you, if you're a Captivate user, this allows you to just copy in that code and then just say, okay, I'm going to build an interaction that Captivate doesn't do immediately out of the box, or it's just, it would take a lot of triggers to do with a lot of animations and stuff like that. I can quickly just go in and create that inside of the prompts tool, or copy the code inside of the prompts tool, go into Claude, have Claude create it, copy and paste it into Captivate, and boom, I have a more interactive piece of content there. That's pretty mind-blowing in my opinion. If you want to check out more, go ahead and head on over to my website at vibedojo.ninja. You can check out previous blog posts where we cover a lot of different topics. We have courses covering everything you want to know about Claude Code, Vibe coding fundamentals, AI, and articulate storyline. We also have downloads that you can do as well. That's all I have for today, so thanks everyone. I'll see you next time.
I'll solve it, spit one prompt and the whole squad evolves quick. Vibe code, baby, watch what we code. Type one line and I'm switching your mode. Hey!